Hello and welcome to this instalment of Talkin Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we're looking at the front seat covers and associated hardware options for the Triumph TR4A models. Now the TR4As ran production line 1965 to 1967 and they followed on directly from the TR4s. In fact, the very last version of the TR4 seat, they had three different versions of the seats just to make things confusing. But this version here, which is the late version of the TR4, the seat framework under there is actually identical to the seat framework of a TR4A. It was the foams and the covers that changed. And in fact, you've got them side by side here. So that's the TR4 late and that's the TR4A, which is what we're talking about here. The framework underneath these are identical. It's the foams and the covers that changed. Now, just to reference in this book here, obviously the TR4A had a very distinctive design. It had this horseshoe design on both the backrest and the cushions, but the piping in this photo is misleading. The piping on the inside there is white, and it shouldn't be. It should be blue in that case. Basically, it was only the outside piping that was white originally on these cars, as you can see here on this original seat that we have. And obviously the covers that we've made here. White was only on the outside. The piping that went around the pleated panel on the inside of the horseshoe, that should be the same colour as the main trim. I imagine that's just an aftermarket version. Now, when it comes to materials, you've got three-tier option with us. At one end of the scale, you've got Vinyl Ambla. At the other end of the scale, you've got full leather, i.e. there is no vinyl in it whatsoever. The parts are all in leather. And then you have the middle ground option, which is what we refer to as leather-faced, i.e. the seat facings have been made in leather and the backs and the surrounds are vinyl. Some people call it a part leather, part vinyl kit. Other people out there, other companies out there do confusingly refer to it as a leather kit, and that should not be confused with our full leather option. Our full leather option is an upgrade option that not many companies offer, if any at all, where there is no vinyl present whatsoever. So do not confuse what other companies refer to as leather for our full leather option. Their leather option is almost certainly our leather-faced option. And so when you're comparing certainly prices, keep that in mind. On that note, it is worth noting that price is a very strange metric to choose an interior trim supplier. You should be looking at quality of raw materials. You should be looking at the quality and workmanship of the actual parts and the accuracy and templating elements of things. And then, you know, the reputation and knowledge within the industry. We've been doing the same seat over and over for almost 50 years now. And in fact, TRs were what my father first started out in. And so they are somewhat our bread and butter, although we have gone into a few other British marques. We're still doing TRs day in, day out. So do bear that in mind. Not going to press too much on that. It is check out our website for more details on choosing a supplier. Making sure you end up with a Skinner kit is always the aim on that one there. So yeah, you've got the three-tier option there on the materials. Now, when you're talking leather as well, you've actually got a couple of options on the leather. So got them all different here. So at the bottom here, you've got Vinyl Ambla. It's a PVC effectively. Then leathers, we actually offer two different versions of leather. You have grained and smooth, which is all down to the graining on the leather there. So you can see grained there, whereas smooth barely has any graining to it. It's a lot more of a natural look and finish to it. So we can offer both of those for anything related to leather. This particular set has been done leather-faced specification using grained leather in black with white piping, as you can see here. And so let's get stuck in on the actual seat covers. So the seat covers, that we sell them as a pair, i.e. enough to do two seats, a car set. And you get a pair of cushion covers, a pair of backrest covers, and a pair of backrest panels. Starting with the cushions, obviously they're all pre-sewn, etc. You have genuine tuck and roll pleats. Just show you on the turned over backrest here. So genuine tuck and roll pleats are literally going in and out of the slit foam. So it actually sort of goes into a slit and out of a slit there, which is the same as what we do on all of our seat covers. Here you can see the fold over there. Quite a few other companies out there and independent restorers, they'll do what we refer to as fake pleats, where you basically just fold the leather over and just sew down and create a fake seam. Ours literally go in and out of the slit foam, so you actually get some definition to them. So genuine tuck and roll pleats, obviously the horseshoe around the outside, and then you get these surrounds in vinyl in this case, going around the outside edge of it all. The surrounds we make deep enough to give you enough play to actually grab onto it and tuck it round during the trimming process. Then you have this retainer, which is sewn into a loop, which I'll come to in a second. That's for the retainer spring element of things. Backrest, again, genuine tuck and roll pleats. Horseshoe in leather, pleated panel in leather. And then you get the main retainer at the bottom there in vinyl. The big surrounds to the back of the seat in vinyl as well as these finishes here. Then you get a pair of backrest panels, which are vinyl in this case, which are hardboard panels, trimmed all the way around apart from the bottom edge. And then you get this massive loose flap on the bottom edge there, which wraps around. I'll show you on the trim seat in a second. All trimmed up onto hardboard with the pilot holes for the fixings on them there. When it comes to piping, obviously white piping was original for the TR4A era of car on the outside only, as per this spec here, but we can obviously offer lots of different combinations if you're going for something a bit more unique, shall we say. Our piping is Leathercloth where colour allows, which is about 80 to 90% of our colours are available in Leathercloth. Unlike other companies out there who sort of cut costs, I guess, by offering vinyl piping, we know that Leathercloth piping is the preferred material for piping of seats. It's slightly thinner but a lot more robust on the surface, so you don't get a bulbous look on the piping. It's very neat and tidy. We get this all specially made and glued round, etc. Really good stuff. Worth checking out my other YouTube video and blog post on that subject there, because it's something we're very proud of. We're only one of the only companies in the industry that stays true to using Leathercloth for piping, and there is a reason for that. Granted, for some unique colours we can't offer Leathercloth, we have to use vinyl because the colour is not available in Leathercloth, but for the majority that's not a problem at all. So we use Leathercloth as standard, but do check out my other videos detailing that element of things. Now, it's worth noting on the covers, the cushion covers aren't handed, i.e. there are two of them, and it doesn't matter if it's going on the left or the right seat. However, the backrests are handed. And you can see here, this element of the horseshoe here is narrower than this element here, than the opposite on the other side there. So this is the right-hand seat as we're looking, as you're facing forward in the car. So if I stand at this orientation now, that is the right-hand seat, and it's narrower on that side, wider on that side, and that is done deliberately because of the hood frame passing over. So it didn't matter whether your car was a soft top or a surrey top, they didn't change the seat because of the soft top or surrey top, but obviously the design is catering for the soft top to allow the metalwork of the actual hood frame to pass by. If I look at this on the actual seat itself, this is obviously a left-hand seat as you're facing forward in the car, if I get the orientation correct. So left-hand seat as you're facing forward in the car, and you can see this takes a much sharper angle on the outside of the car, and that is literally to allow the hood frame to pass by without hitting the seat. So the inside is a lot deeper, a lot fatter, whereas the outside is thinner like that. So obviously our seat covers allow for that with the actual seat material as per original. Obviously all of our seat covers are templated on original designs. Same principle again for the backrest panel there. You can see it straight away. That is the sort of curvaceous side, and that is the sharper side there, which obviously follows suit with the seat cover itself. Right, I think that covers it on the actual seats, the actual seat covers. Let's go on to the hardware element of things. So hardware, we sell effectively all the hardware pieces separately, but in kit format. So basically we sell everything as pairs or as car sets, enough to restore one car, but the different parts are sold separately, if you follow. So a seat foam kit is enough to do 2 seats, but it's sold separately to the seat diaphragms, etc. So what we've got here, just as a quick run over, got seat diaphragms sold as a pair. You've got the webbing kit sold as a kit, i.e. enough to do 2 kits. You've got these tension spring retainer springs here, which I've only got one on show, but we do sell them in pairs. And let's start with that, actually. So tension spring, that's why this retainer here is sewn into a loop. It's to allow that to go through there, and it literally provides tension from left to right, and is clipped to the framework underneath in the actual sort of a retainer cushion area there. So they often stand the test of time, but we've got quite a few customers now who either they're missing completely or they're a bit worse for wear. So we've had these made and we've got lots of them in stock, so do let us know. In fact, there's a customer over in America that very much encouraged me to get those made because he couldn't find any anywhere, so we got those sorted. So we sell those as a pair. Then let's talk about the actual seat diaphragms. Diaphragms effectively sit underneath the cushion bases and they act as a spring underneath, and they're rubber. They get the clips included. Let's just tip this. There we are. So that's your diaphragm underneath, and you can see all the clips going all the way around. The process of making sure the diaphragm fits correctly isn't as obvious as you'd like to think. We recommend starting on diagonal points, basically. So get one over there, get one over there, get that in place, then work your way around to the extremities. If you just try and go sequentially round, sometimes you'll find it doesn't have the stretch in it, so you literally have to put the tension on it at the extreme points first and then work your way around. So the rubber diaphragms sold in a pair. Then you've got the actual seat foam kit. So seat foam kit consists of how many pieces we've got here? We've got 2 pieces or a pair of pieces for the backrest. Then for the cushions, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, because they're on top of each other, 5, 6. Okay, so that's the seat foam kit. Let's start with the actual bases. They're 2-piece. One sits on top of the other. So you get the horseshoe, then you've got the main piece underneath it there. And then you get these pre-cut pieces which wrap around the surrounds there. So obviously the horseshoe element gives you a nice definition as you roll it round. And then these tidy up the outside edges here. I have done other videos showing trimmed up seats where I go into a bit more detail on the trimming, and in fact I do plan on doing actual trimming videos as well, so do check that out. But I just want to give a basic overview of the actual seat foams here. And then you have the backrest squab foams, and you can see straight away they are handed. So that's the narrow side, that's the wider side, and then you get an opposite to the other side. So that's the right hand seat, obviously, as you're facing forward. That's the left hand seat there. So let's actually just look at this one, which is the left hand one, against the left hand one. So you can see there straight away the element of getting the foam correct there. So that's built up foam and then glued together, but with the obviously allowance for the hood frame element there. So that's a seat foam kit. Then you have the webbings here. Webbing is Pirelli webbing. Either comes in black or beige. There's not a choice, it's whatever is available at the time. And then we supply all of the necessary clips, etc. We sell it loose at the moment like this, so enough for you to pre-cut. We used to sell them in pre-done kits, but then this was sort of late 90s when my father was doing it. You got a lot of people being a bit pedantic, shall we say, about tensions and things like that. You know, one person said it was absolutely fine, the other person said they couldn't do it, or it needed to be tighter, etc. We were doing it all consistently. So we changed. We just started offering, I think it's around 6 meters, which is ample for 2 seats. And people can do it themselves at their end. However, we're getting a lot of people asking now whether we can do pre-done kits. So watch this space, because we probably will start offering 1 or 2 effectively. So you can either have it like that and do it yourself, or you can trust that we know what we're doing, and we'll do the kit for you. So watch this space on that one there. So that's the webbing kit there, again sold as a kit, enough to do a pair of seats. So that's effectively the main hardware. Then in addition to that, we do recommend people consider seat clips. You get tubular seat clips and these small seat clips here. Again, if I tilt the seat back, you'll see both of them. So these are the, get that piece of foam there. These are the small little nail clips there. And then tubular clips go around these big tubular bits here. Often clips are very much reusable. So you often find that you don't necessarily need them, but we can offer them. They are sold singularly. So just let us know how many you want of those there. And then finally, seat wadding. We sell seat wadding in 8 meter lengths, which is again ample for what you're doing. And wadding is fantastic. It's basically a way of turning an okay trim seat into a really nicely trimmed seat, because it allows for you to get into the air gaps between the seat cover and the seat foam itself. Trimming is a very organic process. You'll do one seat one way, you'll do the other seat exactly the same, and they'll look different. in terms of tensions and air gaps, and this is where wadding really does come in handy. So we do recommend that, especially for, should we say, enthusiastic hobbyists that are doing the seats that perhaps don't have the experience and skill set or correct sort of steamers and heat guns and whatnot. But any professional upholsterer, especially of this era of car, should have wadding on site. So we do offer it for those that need it there, but it's a very useful tool for those that want to fill out certain elements of the padding, because after all, these seat foams, they are just cut foams, they're not molded latex foams. They do 80% of the job very well. That last 20% is down to how much effort you want to put into it, so bear that in mind. So yeah, effectively that is a decent dive on the seat covers and seat hardware for the Triumph TR4As. Please do remember to like and subscribe and share with other classic car enthusiasts. Of course, do check out the other videos on the YouTube channel, including trimmed up versions of TR4A seats, because it goes into a nice bit of detail on those bits and bobs. But ultimately, thanks for tuning in, and please remember to check out our next video. Thanks very much.